What's going on, guys? So I am out here at 3 of my trailers, and I'm going to go over some things that we did to my cargo trailer a while back. I made a whole video series on the upgrades that we did to this cargo trailer, but I get asked time and time again from folks who buy new travel trailers, what are some enhancements that they can do to make it a little bit safer whenever they're towing it down the road and give them a little bit more confidence and peace of mind that they are less likely to have a failure. So we're going to go over the upgrades that were done to this trailer and the suspension, which can easily be done to most travel trailers. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Yeah, so it's probably been almost 2 years. I use this cargo trailer for just about everything. It is such a convenient tool to have in your arsenal of trailers, especially if you want to protect something that you're towing. One of the first upgrades I did on this trailer was to enhance the suspension, basically the running gear on this specific trailer, because I knew that one of the issues I have whenever I'm towing something is, man, I hope I don't have a blowout. I hope I don't have a leaf spring that fails. I hope I don't have a hanger that fails, a shackle, you know, all the different things that can affect your trip whenever you're towing something. This also goes for RVs, whether you're getting a large fifth wheel or a small, travel trailer that you just plan on towing with a small vehicle. You always want to feel confident about the suspension and the rolling portion of your trailer. And these are just some of the upgrades that I did to my cargo trailer that give me a little bit more peace of mind. Now, probably the easiest to identify upgrade that was done are the wheels and tires, because they just stand out at you. I have Goodyear Endurance tires on aluminum wheels, and the wheels are really optional. I just really got these for looks because I think they complete the package over the steel wheels that were on the trailer. The tires, on the other hand, are definitely an upgrade over what came on the trailer. I believe they were a Constant C or some other, kind of generic brand of tire. The Goodyear Endurance tire is a US manufactured tire, and it's known to be a significant upgrade. But one of the additional upgrades I did when I ordered the tires was to get them 2 load ranges higher than the tires that were on the trailer. So the tires that came with it were load range C. The tires that I installed on here are load range E. So these tires have a significant advantage in terms of load carrying capability, and that was important. And that's also an upgrade I generally recommend if you're getting a travel trailer. Go up 1 or 2 sizes in terms of load rating. That's going to just give you a little bit more peace of mind that the tires themselves are robust enough to be able to handle the weight and then some of the trailer you plan on installing them on. These have a maximum of 80 psi, and the ones that were on here before I believe went up to 60 or even 55 psi. So that was, again, one of the first upgrades I did and one of the easiest to identify. The second upgrade I did deals with something a little harder to see. So between here you have your suspension equalizer. This essentially is a piece that equalizes the load between the 2 axles. You're only going to see this on an RV that has twin axles. Let me see if I can get a little closer on it. There we go. So the one that was on here was just a plain triangle-shaped equalizer. Very, very common to what you would get on a travel trailer whenever buying it new, and some of your less expensive fifth wheels will also have a standard equalizer. But on almost all travel trailers, unless it has like an upgraded Torflex suspension, or unless it's a really high-end model, you're likely to have just a basic triangle-shaped steel equalizer. What I did was I opted to remove that and install an upgraded equalizer. This specific equalizer has a large rubber bushing. This is the Dexter Easy Flex. Some fifth wheels actually come with this equalizer. And then I installed heavy-duty shackle straps, which are these metal straps right here. These are a 1/2 inch thick each, along with greasable wet bolts that go inside of them. So you can actually attach your grease gun to them and squeeze grease inside of the bolt. Basically, it makes them far more serviceable and far more reliable than your traditional shackle strap. They're twice as thick, so the chances of these wearing out on my trailer are very, very slim. But those were the 2 big upgrades that I did in terms of the suspension. That little rubber bushing in between that equalizer right there reduces the shock that this trailer might experience by probably around 15%. Doesn't sound like much, but it is actually a pretty fair amount. And really the shock that it reduces are going to be the real small bumps and vibrations that kind of rattle everything to death. They make several different flavors of this. MORryde makes one, LCI makes one, I mean, just there are all sorts of different brands that make equalizer suspension systems. I went with the Dexter system on here simply because it was a relatively low-cost system. It functions well, it's very robust, and the fact is it's easily and readily available. Really nice. This upgrade does require you to lift up the side of the trailer that you plan on installing it each time. So when you put it on this side, you're going to want to lift up this side of the trailer. When you put it on the other side, you're going to want to lift up that side of the trailer. So that is one thing you're going to have to keep in mind whenever it comes to doing most suspension upgrades. When everything is said and done, you're looking at about $1,500. If you have a shop installing all of this, I don't know how much they're going to charge. I would probably venture to say it would be another maybe $500 to $700 on top of that. So you're probably going to look closer to $2,000 to $2,500. Now, I know that that sounds like a lot of money, but in the big scheme of things, is it really a lot of money considering what you're doing and what you're putting it on for the peace of mind that you get out of it? I realize that if you're buying a travel trailer for, $20,000, then yes, a $2,000 to $2,500 upgrade can be expensive, but it's definitely one of the upgrades I would recommend if you're going to put money into your RV and you want a bit of a safer towing experience, because I think that this is ultimately going to give you that more confident towing experience that a lot of people look for. Now, stepping up to this Van Lee, we didn't have to do any suspension upgrades on this unit because it came with a pretty appropriate setup. It has twin 8,000-pound axles. This runs on H-rated tires, and these tires, even though they're Westlake and they're not a super popular brand, well, they are a very popular brand, but not a brand a lot of people have ever really associated with a quality tire manufacturer. That being said, when you go with their G or their H-rated tires, they're actually a pretty good tire. So I wouldn't really judge the G or the H-rated tire based on some of their lighter duty tires that you might see on travel trailers or cargo trailers or things like that. I can honestly say that I feel very confident towing this fifth wheel with this tire on it because of that H rating. And this is an all steel design. You even see where it says regroovable on the side. That typically means it's a commercial spec tire. And what that means is when this thing gets to a certain wear level, you can actually regroove tread back into it. That's how thick this surface is. And all steel design essentially means that this thing is incredibly robust and it can handle a tremendous amount of weight. Now, the equalizer that this utilizes is one of my favorite. This is the Road Armor from LCI. It's a trail air equalizer. It has rubber bushings on the top and the bottom and a pivot arm in the center. So as this thing moves and rotates, it's actually being cushioned on the top and the bottom and across all four corners. So this is a really, really good setup. It's not terribly expensive. You could even put a system like this on a smaller RV. You just have to be sure that you get the correct length shackle straps, bolts, and you have the amount of space you need between to install it. But all of that stuff is easily researchable. This is also a really good system. This is the same system that we installed over a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, on the Coachman Chaparral fifth wheel that we had. And it's one that Keystone's been putting on the Montana for quite some time, and Keystone has started putting it on a lot of their other units, including fifth wheels. But this is a good system. It's a little bit higher end than the Dexter EasyFlex, even though, believe it or not, the Dexter EasyFlex is the standard suspension system you get on like a Riverstone. If you want to upgrade to a higher suspension system, you can even get independent suspension system. But the EasyFlex is considered to be a very high quality suspension system, as is this Road Armor suspension from LCI. Anyways, guys, these are topics that I talk about in just about every video I do when I do an RV walk around. I focus on the suspension just so you can see what's there. Whenever you look at your traditional travel trailer, it's not likely to have even this level of suspension on it. And if you can invest even $500 to $750 to swap out your suspension and get the equalizer installed, the heavy-duty shackle straps, greasable wet bolts, or if you want to tackle the tires first, you don't have to upgrade the wheels. Typically, the wheels that you have are going to be fine, and in a lot of cases, they'll already be aluminum. The wheels that came on this were unfortunately steel, so I swapped them out for aluminum along with the tire upgrade. The Goodyear Endurance tires have been a pretty good tire. Now, when you start maxing out these tires, you are going to potentially deal with failures. So there are folks who have posted pictures of failed Goodyear Endurance tires because they're putting them on large, heavy fifth wheels. I don't really recommend doing that. On fifth wheels, I almost exclusively recommend going with a G-rated tire at minimum. If you have a larger fifth wheel, opt for something like an H-rated tire. If you do an H-rated tire, you're likely going to have to go to a 17.5-inch wheel diameter. Under that, you can get some G-rated tires on 16-inch wheels. It's very, very rare that you would find a G-rated tire on a 15-inch wheel, and that's partially due to the fact that the wheel itself generally isn't rated for the PSI that you might have to inflate the tire up to. But those are all things that you need to research before you start upgrading to tires that are excessively rated over your RV. What I did here, I think, was perfect. I went from a C-rated tire to an E-rated tire. It's still a relatively light-duty tire when you compare it to something like a G or an H-rated tire. However, they are really good tires. They've held up really well. So I've been pretty happy with the upgrade. It tows very well. I'm very confident in terms of the suspension. And, you know, every time we get to where we're going, I generally don't have to worry about anything inside really being jarred around or thrown around. And I'm showing you my cargo trailer because this is very similar in setup to what you might see in a small travel trailer. And that's the whole purpose of this video and talking about these upgrades. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you enjoyed this video. I'll put links in the description of this video to show you where to get some of these components if these are upgrades you might be interested in doing on your own RV. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.